All right, let's talk about MVP candidate. Yes, you've heard me correctly. MVP candidate Drake Maye, who has, I think, maybe his most impressive game of the season, even if it wasn't necessarily like the game where he played the best, if that makes sense. You might be saying, what the hell am I talking about? But I guess like if every week is a test for him, I think he had aced some easy test this season. You know, the Titans game, not the best defense. Saints, not the best defense. Panthers, not the best defense. And then you have like even like the Bills game, it was a win, but that's obviously Josh Allen on one side, but not the best defense there either. This is an A-plus defense, and Drake Maye put in, a game where he had some mistakes, but was also really good and showed he can, add a ton of value, even going up against a good defense. So that's why I say it might be his actually most impressive performance, even if he made more mistakes in this game than he has in others. Let's get into the performance. And first, let's just talk about Myles Garrett. Let's just start off with this because Myles Garrett was ridiculous in this game. Here, they're going to have a tight end chip him on the play. So tight end's going to block him for a bit and then run a route. And then you leave him to the left tackle to hopefully hold him off long enough for Maye to go elsewhere. Maye takes the snap, tight end. That does a pretty good job of chipping Garrett. I mean, it doesn't create a lot of contact, but essentially forces Garrett to have to move more towards the inside. Takes up some time, so good job there. Will Campbell, your fourth overall pick against Myles Garrett. Campbell's having a nice season, but he hasn't had to go against Myles Garrett too often. Watch Garrett go for a bit of a speed move. And again, he's so explosive there, isn't he? I mean, it looks like he's going to the inside, and he moves so explosively. For a guy that is his size, he shouldn't be able to, be as nimble as any other of the most nimble edge rushers in football, right? But he certainly is. He had 5 sacks in this game. That's an absurd number. That's crazy. So that was definitely a factor. And we also had, Maye threw an interception in this game, and it wasn't a great interception. So not that there are great interceptions, but, some are the quarterback's fault, some are not. This one was the quarterback's fault. It's a play where the Browns are showing a potential blitz. You have 6 guys who could potentially be rushing the passer here. However, watch that Cleveland player. Watch what he's going to do on this one. Watch as he's going to start as though he's blitzing, but then ultimately drop back into coverage. I think that little bit of a fake was probably what fooled Maye. I don't think Maye fully realized that he was dropped back into coverage. That's my guess because, he has an opportunity to throw it further down the field. A throw I would not hate if it wasn't for the player who was, clearly in the way. And I think, things happen so fast in the NFL level. It's so easy to watch after the fact and say, oh, well, clearly this is a bad decision. Things happen quickly. Things move quickly. Still, this is not the throw you want to make. Maye ends up firing this, and it just right into the hands of a defender right in front of him. So, yeah, not an ideal play. Clever scheme by Cleveland. Good job to also be able to hold on to that ball by the Browns defender. It was Carson Schweschinger who they picked up first pick of the second round. He's been a nice player for them. So, again, not ideal by Maye. Maye also had this fumble that the Patriots ultimately recovered. I don't really know if I blame him. I never really blame the quarterback for blindside fumbles right there. That's not true. There are times when I do, and I will say maybe a little bit of blame just because the play has been going on for long enough. It's tough. It's always so hard, though. I try not to blame quarterbacks for that unless there's something else going on about it. So, okay, maybe not the best start. But now let's go over here, because once things got going, they really got going. And, one name we don't hear a lot of is Josh McDaniels, who, a player that, or excuse me, a play caller that obviously has not worked out as a head coach in multiple different instances. And I think people were kind of wondering, how much credit do you give him for just being, a guy who knows how to use Tom Brady well? Because, Tom Brady's won Super Bowls with different teams. Tom Brady's pretty much worked well with whoever is his play caller. But McDaniels did make Mac Jones a Pro Bowler, right? And he's did some nice things in this game so first, zone coverage, you have a tight end going to try and get into a gap in coverage further down the field. Watch how when this play begins. I think the Browns might have blown this coverage on top of it, but nonetheless, it's still a good play call to kind of try to attack the spots where the Browns are weak, and eventually, you're going to get someone to break through. You see, I mean, this is wide open, and the Browns have not given up wide open guys pretty much all season. But Maye puts this one right on the money. Nice play by the tight end Austin Hooper on that one to make it all work. So yeah, really good stuff there. And also, let's give credit to Drake Maye for making plays. So this is a 3rd down and 3. Maye takes a snap, and it's going to be pressure off the edge. Actually, not Myles Garrett pressure. Again, I should mention, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks. He could have had 10. He was winning basically every rep. This is one of the few reps he's not generating pressure because he's double teamed. But you see, watch what Maye does. There's pressure, but the pressure's kind of going towards the outside a bit. So watch him step towards the inside, keeps his eyes downfield. Eventually, a player gets wide open. Again, it might have been a blown coverage, but might have just been Douglas running a good route. Hard to see from the broadcast angle. But to me, what I care about is Drake Maye keeping his eyes downfield while navigating the pocket. That's so difficult to do, and that's kind of something you just kind of feels like you're just born with or not born with, and he's born with it. And also, Maye's legs have been a real factor for the New England Patriots, and they were a factor in this one. So the Cleveland Browns, they're going to send pressure on this play. It's going to actually be a 6-man rush. It's a bit of a delayed blitz. I don't believe it's a pure cover 0. I believe what's actually happening is you have a player who, if he sees that the running back is blocking, then he's going to rush in and rush the passer. Is kind of how it works. But anyway, you see when this play begins, you're going to see there is it's Carson Schwetzinger, who I just talked about having such a great season. Already has the picks, about to get a sack to go with it. Maybe keep his team in it, down 16 late in the 3rd quarter. But watch this little thing Maye does. Watch the little pump fake, and then he takes off. Schwetzinger completely fell for it. Was the reason for that because was the reason Maye pump fake because he was trying to fool out Schwetzinger, or did he just realize at the last second that he should probably run? Either way, it worked. Maye was able to pick up a huge gain there, and the Patriots were able to keep the drive going. Definitely Maye's legs have been a real aspect of his game so far in his young career. But also heading over here, so this is Demario Douglas, who's going to be running a deep shot where it's a double move. Where he's going to kind of fake as though he's going over the middle and then run down the field. This is later on that same possession. This might have even been the next play on that same possession. Again, I think one of the things that the Patriots had struggled with throughout the early, really the pre-Drake Maye era, with Mac Jones, when things weren't great, was they were never able to attack down the field, right? That's just not something they really had in the playbook. And, Tom Brady was kind of known for being a throw it over the middle, throw check down type of guy. But if he had to look to throw it down the field, he always would, right? And for Drake Maye, he can do this. Watch what's going to happen on this play. So Maye takes the snap. He's going to, have a clean pocket. Good blocking on that one. You look down the field. There's a bit of a window, but again, you need a perfect throw here. You really do if you're going to convert on something like this. And that is exactly what you get. That is a high-level play from Drake Maye. And, that's just kind of what you expect from him at this point. He has become the guy who you expect high-level plays from consistently. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts with Drake Maye. I think this is a really good performance. I think that, again, I was interested. Okay, one of the things I talked about on the podcast was, this feels like a real test for him. And, early on, he was struggling a little bit, and you're like, yeah, I kind of expected a little bit of a down-to-earth moment for him. And then he just went back to being Drake Maye again, continuing to make these great plays. And if they can do this against the Browns defense, well, what defense aren't they going to be able to do this against? I'm really buying into this Patriots team at this point. And it's, hey, their defense has been playing well, but it's really on the strength of their young quarterback. And ultimately, it's a quarterback-driven league, and looks like the Patriots, not saying it's going to be Tom Brady, but looks like they have a good quarterback again. And, that's what you like to see if you're a Patriots fan. But yeah, those are my thoughts. That's what I think about all of this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.